Does it make you nervous? I'm not afraid to say what I want. Does it put fear into your heart that I know where I started far from where
Hey, lovelies. It's Marcia Love. Today's video, we are going to be talking about perseverance, overcoming obstacles, and viewing the glass half full versus half empty. Today's quote, I'm going to start with, it says, "Believe you can and you're halfway there." And that's by Theodore Roosevelt. And I love that quote. It's something that I add to my portfolio when I'm interviewing for a job or anything of that nature, because it's such a powerful quote. If you're believing that you can, then you're already halfway there, because a lot of times when we're going through things, it's a mindset thing, and just like how you tell kids, if you could be whatever you want to be in life, you could do whatever you want to do. If you believe that you could do anything, then you can achieve. Our parents told us that, our grandparents told us that, and now we tell children that, and now that we are the adults. And that is something that's very true. It stands true still to this day. And sometimes our mindset can start off to the left a little bit, and we have to go ahead and bring it back. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing perseverance, overcoming obstacles. Today, I am going to be joined by the author of an amazing book that I actually read, you guys, and I read it from beginning to end, and it was great. It's called The Resource Program, Surviving Against All Odds. So it's such a powerful book, and we're going to go ahead and bring on the author of this book. Yes, the author. We're going to get his intake on where his mindset was. And we're talking about mindset as he was writing the book, and get his take on it. And his name is Kevin Dixon.
How you doing?
We can't see you.
Let me see, why not?
There we go. Hi, Kevin. How are you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing good. How about you?
I am doing so good. First of all, congratulations on your new book. I have read it from start to finish, and I can say I was thoroughly entertained by the reading, the way you wrote the book. And I also left the book feeling empowered. So I appreciate that. And I want to know from you, if you could pinpoint one thing that inspired you to write this book, what would you say that would be?
Just my passion for kids learning about learning disability. I believe that kids nowadays are afraid to even get tested for learning disability. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one of the reasons why some of these kids are dropping out of school or acting up in class, is because they have a learning disability, but they don't want to get tested for it. So they just act out. And with this book, I just put it all out on the table. Everything that I went through when I was young, from the age from 4th grade, 5th grade up to high school. And I just put all out there, me being teased, me being made fun of, everything. And I'm hoping that by that, they can see that and be like, through it, he got through it okay. He's successful right now. Let me go ahead and get tested. Or maybe the parents can read it to them, or if the parents read it, then maybe they can go ahead and talk to the kids about it.
I agree, because a lot of times as parents, we can look at things like that as a negative, or may not want to get our kids tested because you may feel like there's nothing wrong with my kid. And it's not necessarily a bad thing if they have a disability. And I like that you shed light on that.
Exactly. Same thing with my parents. My parents, when I first was told that I may gotta get tested, at first they didn't want to get me tested, but when they finally did, they was happy that they now realized what was wrong with me and why I wasn't learning as fast as everybody else. Mm-hmm. And they were glad that I had the help. And from there, they just motivated me and they was one of my biggest supporters from kids up to high school.
That's so good. That's so good. Now, in the book, we learned so much about the resource program. It seemed like an amazing program. It did wonders for you as well as others that was your age at the time that got the opportunity to work with the resource program. And in the book, you described the resource program as invaluable. What tools do you feel like you gained from the resource program, and how did that translate to you as an adult today?
Work ethic. I had to work 10 times harder than everybody else just to get to the part or the place where they was already at.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to a special class. I would leave my class mid-class, go to another class where there was a smaller group, and the teacher, where now I'm having a one-on-one with the teacher, and she would go over with me, read it to me. I'll read it back to her. If I didn't understand, she'd read it again until I got it. And that went all the way from when I was an adult into my work life now. Like right now, when I was a supervisor, I was working 7 days a week. When people were working 5 days a week, I was working 7 days a week. Why? Because I had to make sure that my extra stuff or the extra work I was doing was just getting me to the point of being level, and but I feel that me putting in the work is really good, and I learned that the harder I work, the better results I get. And that's what's been going on right now in my life. I'm a hard worker, and from me being a hard worker, I'm just becoming successful. So
that's really good. And I did find that this book was very informative. I learned a lot about learning disabilities and learning difficulties, but also the book I did describe as very motivational. What did you want your readers to gain from this book? What message overall?
Oh, just to realize that they can do anything they want. The learning disability is not going to stop them from who they want to be. When I left high school and went to college, and then in my professional, I went to the military, I went to the Navy, I went to the Army. I became a sergeant in the Army when I was in charge of troops. In my professional life, I was a delivery supervisor in charge of 2 different branches. So I'm in charge of one branch here, and I got to travel to another branch, and for a person with a learning disability, you would think, how'd that happen? Well, that's just me putting in the work, working that much harder. Like I said before, people work 5 days a week. I was working 7 days a week. I would go in 7 days a week and put in the work until I perfected what I had to perfect. And that's what this book is. Just, okay, you know what? Yes, you have a learning disability, and yes, you're not learning as fast as everybody else. But guess what? You put in that work, you can get there. And you can be above average.
Very, very powerful message. And I think that that message can go for the parents as well as the child that may have a learning disability or difficulty. But who do you think will gain more from this book, the parents or the child, or both?
You know what? I would say both. I think that if a parent reads this book, they can read kind of all the stages of all the different disabilities, and then they can kind of read my story, and then they can relate to their kids and say, you know what, he went through the same thing. He went through the walking to the classroom and being teased by his peers. He went to being in class and the teacher goes over an assignment and he looks around and everybody is writing their answers, and I'm just sitting there looking around because I don't understand I did not understand what he just said. And that was hurtful for a long time until I got to high school. And I had a math teacher, we'll never forget it. He would go over a whole assignment and he would look up while everybody's working. He'll look up and I'm looking right at him. And he would give me a nod. And that nod meant he understands. That nod meant I can leave the class, go to my resource program. When I went to the resource class, he had already called them and said, "Keep on his way." And I went there and I just got the extra help. So I think that a parent can really read it and go over that with their kid, or a kid from 4th, 5th grade on can read it and be like, you know what? I understand. I'm going through this now. And it's just a mental health thing right now. I think with all this mental health going on, I just want people to understand that this is normal. Having, if you have a learning disability, you have a learning disability. You can work with it and just, you just get better from there.
Now, those bullies that you mentioned, what would you say to them now? If they were watching this, what would you say to them now?
Well, you know what? Those bullies, after a while became my motivation to get better. And when I say get better, as far as I want to get to the class and learn as much as I can and see how far I can go. I want to become successful, and I knew that it was going to be harder because I had a learning disability.
Yeah.
And and them teasing me every day, and that teasing went on from 4th grade to almost probably till high school. It was going on, and just the motivation of, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
And you did.
You may call me dumb now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And that just made me work harder and harder, and to get to where I got to go, and to get to where I had to get to, and I'm very happy with my life now.
Yeah. It made the success all the more worth it and all the more sweeter. And I like how you shared in the book, like we were able to see your mindset change a little bit, because at first you didn't always have like such a positive outlook on it, and how like difficult you kind of was like giving up on your school. I don't want to tell the book, but we were able to see the mindset change, and I appreciated that as well. So again, congratulations on your book. The book is called The Resource Program, Surviving Against All Odds. It's available now on Amazon, the hard copy as well as the digital. Where else can we find the book?
You know what? You can go to my Instagram, Dixon9Books on Instagram. You can email me at Dixon9Books@gmail.com. I will have this up on YouTube when I finally get a YouTube available. I will get this up on YouTube.
Okay.
If you want to get a copy from Amazon, that's perfect. If you want to get one from me, just send me an email or a message on Instagram, and I'll make sure I get to you and get you a copy.
What is your Instagram?
It's Dixon9Books at Instagram.
Okay. And the link, I'm assuming, will be in the bio.
Yes.
Okay, great. So what can we expect next from you?
I'm currently working on going to some fairs and setting up book sites at fairs. I really like to travel to schools and talk to kids, talk to the resource program. So that's what me and my manager is working on now, trying to get me into schools, different schools, to talk to kids. My main thing is the kids. I want to talk to them and hopefully motivate them to understand that this program is a great program. I cannot speak on this program enough. When I was young, I may have thought different, but when I grew up and I realized that this program, as a 45-year-old man, is still with me to this day. I want them to understand that, they can do it, and I want to talk to them, and that's my thing. I want to travel to different schools and get on interviews and like yours and different formats and talk about the book and hopefully get everybody motivated.
Yeah, well, I am looking forward to all of your endeavors and watching you just take off from here. And I appreciate you joining us today on the Lovelyy Lounge. We will be happy to have you back whenever you want to give us an update. We would love to have a part 2 or have you back on our channel for sure.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So you guys go ahead and go find Kevin on Instagram, hit the link in his bio, go search it up on Amazon. Let's help get these sales up. And it's very, very powerful. You will not regret it. I told you, I read it from beginning to end. It's very motivational, and it for sure goes on with our speech that we discussed today. So thank you, Kevin, for joining us. And
thank you for having me.
All the lovelies, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.